Hello, 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 group. How are you today, Entrepreneur Classroom? We'll give everybody a few moments to pop on. For those of you who may be watching the replay, while I wait for people to pop on, I am Jeannine Trainer with Total Transformation, where transformation is inevitable and your results will definitely be incredible. Okay, and I'm so excited to be here week number 2 with your Wellness Wednesday. So I'm just going to give it a few moments, let everybody get themselves situated, see who may pop on. And, I won't, take up too much of your time. We'll just give it a few moments and then we'll jump into the message for the day. Like last week, you always have your water. Because when you talk as much as I do, your mouth gets dry. So we're going to see anybody. I think I came in just a few minutes early. So it's just hitting 12 o'clock. So we'll just give it a little bit, see who pops in. I have some great information for you guys today. If you remember, last week I popped in for my episode number 1 and just shared, we're talking about health and wellness. So to even get on that journey, you need to know what to do, right? So I shared 5 tips on how to just get started, on that health and wellness journey, and 5 tips to kind of make it a little easier for you to stay on, because sometimes it's easy to start, but it's really hard to keep going. So last week was just like some tips to kind of help you stay on track once you start. And this week, actually, I'm going to cover 5 common illnesses or diseases that are very common. And the reason I chose this topic was because there's a common thread throughout all 5, which is going to lead to the end, the ending when I'm done. And also, there was a reason why I picked this topic. Because this past week I had an old coworker. I no longer work at that job, but I found out that she lost her son. So I was very, very, I'm sorry guys. I was very, very, very sad to find that out. And he was young. He was only 21 years old. Only, a year older than my son. And that was like a wake up call, because people need to realize that, it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter how fit you may think you are. Illnesses and diseases come to everybody. And it just made me look at, my own self, my own household and situation, and really take heed. Like I said, I have a 20-year-old, and sometimes he complained of chest pains. And I said, probably gas, probably a little acid. He said some Tums, but it really made me say, you know what? We need to take you to get an overall, because that right there for her and her family was very devastating, to lose a 21-year-old to heart failure. So, that... I can't even imagine. So that's what made me want to do this week, okay? So again, I'm going to do 5 common illnesses or diseases. And I'm going to start with number 1, right? Gastroesophageal reflux disease. That's a big word. Like, that's a mouthful, right? In layman's terms, acid reflux. We're talking about acid reflux, right? And I suffer with acid reflux. For those of you who may not know exactly what acid reflux is, it's you have these chronic symptoms, right? Acid builds up in your stomach and it travels all the way up into your esophagus. See, now usually there's a barrier that separates the acid coming from your stomach to go into your esophagus, your throat area, right? And that right there is called the relaxation of the lower esophageal sphincter, right? That is not supposed to happen. But when it happens, the acid continues to flow upwards into your throat. So now there goes the acid reflux, right? And it's very, very uncomfortable. It's nothing that you want to have. It could feel like pressure on your chest. I used to have my husband running me to the hospital because I swore I was having a heart attack. Pressure on your chest. You may also feel like you may want to vomit because you have that reflux. Sometimes it's coming back up into your throat and even into your mouth. There's also wearing on your teeth because that's acid. So it could wear on the enamel of your teeth. So that's not good at all, right? Let me see if I missed any, and some, even in your back, you can have pains in your back at times. And that could be very, very, very uncomfortable with acid reflux, right? But some of the risk factors are pregnancy, smoking, and also obesity. Being overweight is a risk factor for acid reflux. How do people deal with it? How do people get rid of it? Treatment. Well, lifestyle changes, medication, such as Nexium, Prilosec. I'm sure you guys all heard of that, right? Those are some of the things that you can do. Changing your diet. And when I say change your diet, I mean some of those foods that you may truly enjoy, like fried foods, spaghetti sauces, the ketchups, those are a no-no when you have acid reflux. So those are just some of the things that you want to look out for when it comes to acid reflux. But remember, I need you guys to listen because there is a common thread throughout all 5. Remember, the risk factors can be pregnancy, smoking, and obesity, okay? So just remember that. The next one I'm going to touch on, the next common disease is going to be cholesterol. That's something else that I have dealt with as well. So what is the cholesterol? It's a waxy fat-like substance that's found in the cells of the body. Okay? That's what it is in layman's term. Our bodies do need some cholesterol to make hormones, right? Like vitamin D. And we also need it because it makes substances that help us to digest our foods, right? Now, I didn't know that. Now, it occurs naturally in our body. So naturally, we do produce cholesterol. But it's also found in foods. And that's when it gets a little tricky because of the fact that we naturally produce it. That means we have what we're supposed to have. Now, when we start introducing foods that have it in it, now we take the chance of the cholesterol levels rising, right? So we take a chance for those cholesterol levels rising. Now, you all may be familiar with hearing the doctor say your LDL and your HDL, your good and your bad. Well, if you were like me, for the longest, I didn't know which was which. So I'm going to give you some tips on remembering what is your LDL and what is your HDL. So we're going to start with LDL. Think of LDL, the letter L standing for lousy, okay? Now, when you think of lousy, you think of bad. So that is your lousy cholesterol. That's your bad cholesterol. And when you think of HDL, you think of happy, right? H is for happy. So happy is your good cholesterol. So that's a good way to figure out which is which. LDL, that L stands for lousy, and HDL, the H stands for happy. Okay. Hey, how are you doing? It's GB Pastor on. Thank you so much for popping in. I'll just recap real quick since somebody pops on. Today, we're going to talk about 5 common illnesses and diseases that are very common, but there's a common thread that goes between them. So I want everybody to listen for that common thread because it'll be, I'll show you at the end. So with cholesterol, there's the LDL and the HDL. The L is for lousy, the H is for happy, so good and bad, okay? Now, the LDL is a buildup of cholesterol in your arteries. That's what we don't want. We don't want the buildup in our arteries. Now, the HDL, which is the happy, what happens, the HDL carries cholesterol from other parts of your body, and it carries it to the liver because the liver removes the cholesterol from your body. So that was a little fun fact that I learned while I was doing my research. The liver removes cholesterol from your body. So the HDL collects all the cholesterol from different parts of the body, carries it to the liver, and the liver goes ahead and gets rid of that cholesterol for you. Whereas your lousy, that buildup of the lousy cholesterol, it can clog your arteries. And again, that's what we don't want. So high cholesterol is basically too much cholesterol in your body, right? You do have a greater chance of coronary disease when you have high cholesterol. the higher the LDL, the higher your chance is. So the higher that lousy, your daily value of cholesterol should be 300 milligrams, okay? So if you are paying attention and if you're looking at labels, you don't want to go more than 300 milligrams a day of that cholesterol, okay? Foods that are high in cholesterol, guys, hold on to your hat, because I know you're going to hear some of these and say, Jeannine, really? But yes, I know. All the good food are the foods that we have to look out for. Eggs. I think Grace would appreciate this because I think she made this last night. Liver. I think it was liver. Fish. Fast foods. Butter. Shellfish. Shrimp. Ice cream. Pastries. Red meat. Sausages. Bacon. Cheese. All the good stuff is a little higher in cholesterol. So when you eat them, you have to really be careful, okay? And again, things that make your cholesterol increase are those foods, and also being overweight. Are we catching on to something here? Are we catching on? Are we seeing that common thread between, so far, acid reflux, cholesterol? Keep listening. We're moving on to number 3, which is diabetes, okay? Diabetes occurs in the body when it's unable to regulate the amount of glucose, which is another word for sugar, in the blood. You said shrimp. Yes, shrimp. Yes, shrimp is high in cholesterol. Again, for those who may have just popped on, I talked about acid reflux. I suffered with that personally, and I talked about cholesterol. Again, suffered with that personally. And shrimp was one of those things that I had to truly cut back on. And for a short amount of time, I had to totally cut it out because it is high in cholesterol. So part of my journey and treatment for lowering it was to just rid those foods that had the cholesterol in it. And I didn't even speak on mayonnaise. I'm a mayonnaise addict and I love mayonnaise. I had to cut mayonnaise out because it is high in cholesterol. Okay, so diabetes, again, it occurs in the body when it's unable to regulate the amount of glucose, which is sugar, in the blood. Plain and simple. Easy explanation, right? Carbohydrate foods are broken down to produce glucose, okay? So they are broken down to make sugar, causing the blood glucose level to rise. So that's why it's very important. We talked about carbs last week, to watch how much carbs we eat, because carbs break down into sugar, right? So we want to be careful of how much sugars how many carbs we're taking in, because it breaks down into sugar. Now, insulin is a hormone that's produced by the pancreas, which regulates the blood sugar levels, the blood glucose levels between certain limits, okay? So the insulin is a hormone that's produced by our pancreas, okay? So we have something that's producing it that's helping us keep those levels right. However, sometimes it does not work that way. Just like we saw with the acid reflux and the cholesterol, sometimes it doesn't work out. Then you run into getting diabetes, type 1, type 2. Those are the two main types, right? Again, I broke down HDL and LDL. Let me show you the difference between type 1 and type 2. Type 1 diabetes, the body makes little to no insulin. Type 1, it makes little to no insulin due to the overactive immune system. Who is so more susceptible to this? Young children and young adults are usually known for getting type 1 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes, your body prevents the insulin it makes to work properly. It may make some insulin, but it doesn't make enough, right? So most people that have type 2 diabetes are older adults, young adults. But amazingly, over the past few years, it's been shown that children are popping up more with type 2 diabetes, okay? And let me tell you another fun fact. And this is when I need you to put those listening ears on, because here's another connection from the first 2 illnesses. 8 out of 10 people with type 2 diabetes are overweight. 8 out of 10 people with diabetes are overweight, okay? Your risk factors, hey Grace, your risk factors for diabetes: family history, being a minority, high blood pressure, not being active, and again, let's listen, here goes that connection, being overweight. Are we catching that connection yet? Okay, so what do you need to do? You need to move. We talked about that last week, right? Move 30 minutes a day, 5 times a week at least. Just move. Walking. If you can't walk, sit in your chair and do those chair exercises. But we need to move. Also, we have to eat healthy foods. We have to eat a healthy lifestyle. I know all those foods that I listed are foods that you guys love because I love them as well. But we have to take care of us first. So less fats in our diet, right? And also lose weight. Again, there goes that common thread, okay? Overweight leads to diabetes. Yes, being overweight can lead to diabetes, okay? So I want you to see, have you seen that connection yet from acid reflux, cholesterol, diabetes? I'm on to number 4, and I'm going to recap for those who may be popping on. Today I'm talking about 5. See, Grace got me with this number 5. 5 common illnesses and diseases, and I want you to see the common thread between them, because at the end we're going to discuss that common thread, and I'm going to give you a solution for that, okay? Number 4 is heart disease. Now, heart disease is so broad. You could talk so much about heart disease. I just broke it down real small because that's something that can do a whole broadcast on heart disease. It's a range of conditions. I do my exercise 30 minutes. Very good. Everybody, we need to do 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. That's what we need to do. Very good. Heart disease is a range of conditions that affect the heart. You hear what I said? A range of conditions, because that's just how large it is. Like so many different conditions, including blood vessel disease, such as coronary artery disease, right? Blocked blood vessels can bring on heart attacks or strokes, right? Blocked blood vessels bring on heart attacks and strokes, and also high blood pressure. And the high blood pressure leads to the heart attacks and the strokes, okay? Now, what do you need to control to prevent having the heart disease? Well, we're going to see a common thread between these. Your cholesterol, your blood pressure. If you have diabetes, you need to control your diabetes. Exercise, a healthy diet. If you're a smoker, you have to put it down. You have to put it down. You have to stop smoking. Here we go. Listening ears on. Common connection. Being overweight. Okay? If you are overweight, that can lead to heart disease, okay? How do you know that you're having some type of heart issue? You may be suffering from a lot of chest pain, feelings of indigestion. Now, let's go back to the first. Do you see how the heart disease mentioned indigestion, and you feel like indigestion, and I talked about the acid reflux, and I felt like I was having a heart attack? You see? Because when you have acid reflux, that builds up in your chest and it's pressure. When you're having a heart disease, a heart attack, it's that pressure and you'll think it's indigestion. So it's so hard to determine what you're having. That's why a lot of people go into the emergency room when it's just acid reflux symptoms, because they mimic that of a heart attack, okay? And also exercise intolerance. If you are having a very hard time exercising, sweating profusely, you may need to stop and take a look at yourself, because it may be some type of heart trouble, okay? So again, factors: cholesterol, diabetes, high blood pressure, and being overweight. Hey, Deshawn, how are you doing? Yes, I suffer. She suffered, so you understand firsthand. Yes. So now, guys, number 5. This is the 5th and final, and then we're gonna take all the dots and connect them. Okay. Number 5, sleep apnea. Yes, sleep apnea is an illness or disease. It's very common. It's a disorder when a person's breathing is interrupted during sleep. Could you imagine your breathing being interrupted during sleep? You stop breathing repeatedly. You can stop breathing hundreds of times. You heard me right. Not 10 times, not 20, hundreds during your sleep. Could you imagine your breathing being stopped hundreds of times during your sleep? So guess what? The brain and the rest of the body may not get enough oxygen because your breathing is getting cut off during your sleep. There are 2 types of sleep apnea: obstructive sleep apnea and central sleep apnea. Now, obstructive sleep apnea is when the soft tissue in the back of the throat collapses. And that's when the breathing is interrupted and stopped, because the soft tissue collapses and it closes off that airway, so your breathing stops. Good afternoon, Robin. And your breathing stops. Central sleep apnea. Now, this is amazing. Your brain fails to signal to breathe. Can you believe that? Central sleep apnea is when your brain fails to signal the muscles to allow you to breathe. That I thought was just amazing. Now, what are your risk factors for sleep apnea? It's more common in men, but women do get it. When I got diagnosed with acid reflux, it was actually suggested that I take a sleep apnea study because acid reflux is also a factor. So it's more common in men, people over 40. If you have acid reflux and our ears on, here go the common thread. If you're overweight, okay? Effects, if untreated, is you can get high blood pressure, you can have a stroke, you can have heart failure, and you can get diabetes. So people will take something that they think is simple, like sleep apnea, just thinking, oh, my sleep is interrupted, and think it's nothing. You could really have some really, really, really bad health issues occur from not getting that treated. Heart attack, stroke, high blood pressure, diabetes from sleep apnea. So if you experience anything like that, or if you have a spouse and they're telling you you're making these noises while you're sleeping, they can usually tell when your breathing is getting interrupted. You need to go to the doctor and let them know and do a sleep study, because it could really turn out to be something really, really dangerous for your health. Okay. Thank you, Robin. I appreciate that. So now, guys, we're going to stop and we're going to recap. Okay. There were 5 illnesses and diseases I talked about today. Acid reflux, cholesterol, diabetes, heart disease, and sleep apnea. 5. There was a common thread between the 5. I'm going to give it to you guys, okay? I'm going to give you a few seconds to type in the comments. What was the common thread between all 5? What was the common risk factor of all 5s? While y'all writing, I'm going to get a sip of this water that you should make sure you drink enough water every day. I'm going to give you a few seconds. I know somebody has the answer out there. What were the 5? There were 5 things I spoke of, and there were common factors. Robin, yes. Ding, 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 ding. Robin is the winner today. Being overweight. Yes, good, GB Pastor. Yes, being overweight was the common factor for all of these. Sometimes we look at them individually, but when you hear them collectively like that, it is amazing. When you hear it collectively and you see how all of these diseases kind of intertwine, and how being overweight is a common denominator in all of these. So your weight can affect so much. It's not just about, being vain and you just don't want to be overweight because you want to look good. You don't want to be overweight, because being overweight can lead to so many other health issues where it's just not worth it. I know a lot of people that say, oh, I'm good with my weight. I'm fine with my weight. And I'm happy that they have the esteem, the self-esteem to be okay and fine with it. But you need to go to the medical professionals and get your testing and know your numbers. And if your numbers are fine, then hey, go for it. But if your numbers are not, you have to do something about your health. Because like I told you guys last week, I want to be here for my family. My why, which is my W, my why is great. And it's my husband and my children. We have a family and we love each other, and I want to be here, right? So I have to make it my business to know my numbers, okay? Hey, I don't want to jack up a name. Fascia, Miss Crosby, because I don't want to mess it up. But yes, self-esteem is okay, but know your numbers. Exactly. You have to know your numbers. And being overweight can lead to so many different health issues. And guys, I don't want to just make it about being overweight. Just knowing your numbers and being healthy is important. Like I shared, for those who weren't on, I was led to talk about these 5 common illnesses because I had a coworker who this week, her son passed away, an old coworker, I'm no longer at that job, but her son passed away, 21 years old, heart failure, 21. She was planning a graduation party. He was graduating from college. 21 years old, heart failure. That hit home for me. We have a 20-year-old, right? And he has complained of chest pains before. And I'm not going to lie. I said, probably acid. He'll take this, and he said it went away. But that made me get up and make an appointment to say, no, you need to go get checked out. So that's what led me to do this live for Wellness Wednesday about the 5 common illnesses and diseases. People need to go out there, know your numbers, know what's going on with your body. And being overweight is a common thread. Now I'm going to go through these last few things because I talked about those. Well, Jeannine, what do we do about it? Go to the doctor, know your numbers, get up and move, change your diet. Yes, we know all of that, right? But you know I'm into health and wellness. I do natural and organic products. I just want to share 4 herbs, right, that is in a product that I have that helps you with a lot of this stuff. I'm going to start with Gano and Chaga. Gano is the nickname. The long name is Ganoderma lucidum. Gano and Chaga are 2 most powerful mushrooms in the world. Call them the king of herbs, right? They are good for helping you with high blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, inflammation, believe it or not, even helping you to kill some cancer cells. Yes, we're not medical professionals. We don't claim to cure, but we have hundreds, if not thousands of testimonies of people who have said that, yes, it has helped them with these ailments. I'm a testament. It's helped me with my cholesterol. I used to get sick off of medication from cholesterol, and taking Gano and drinking my cleansing tea has got my numbers down. My husband's pressure was up a few months ago. The tea got his pressure down with no medication. So I just like to show people that there is a natural and organic alternative. Also, chamomile. Chamomile is great for sleep. What people don't realize, when you don't get enough sleep, that also affects your health. When you don't get enough sleep, you are also putting your health at danger. So the tea has the chamomile. Wonderful, wonderful tea. And it helps you sleep. Robin says, please spell the name. Robin, I sure will. It is Gano, G-A-N-O. Hold on, I want to make sure I give 2. G-A-N-O-D-E-R-M-A. That's Ganoderma. And lucidum is L-U-C-I-D-U-M. But if you Google Gano itself, it'll pop up with the Ganoderma lucidum. Now, that's just a herb, and you could do your research on the herb. Ginger. Ginger is great for diabetes. And also, if you're having chest pains, it's great for chest pains and IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome, which is a horrible belly, chronic, disease that affects so many people. And thank you, Robin. And it just really attacks so many people, and they have such a hard time using the restroom. But ginger helps with it. And I just want to show you guys real quick. I think I could change this because, hold on, let me make sure I'm doing this right. See, because, I don't want to jack up the live. I know I could turn it so it'll show the words correctly. Let me see. Let me try it. I know people touch the screen so you guys can see it correctly. I don't know if I did it right. No. See, I didn't do it right. Okay, but this is what the tea looks like. And it's called Te Divina, and it's a cleansing tea. I drink this twice a day, and it helps with my cholesterol, and it also helps with my acid reflux. And in this tea, it has the Gano, it has the Chaga, it has the ginger and the chamomile, along with 8 other all-natural and organic herbs that help bring your system to a natural balance, helps to cleanse you naturally. Yes, it will help you lose some pounds in those inches, but helps your body all over. It helps with all these different ailments. That's why I love it. I've been drinking this style of tea for 2 years, because if I could drink this and it controls some of my ailments, why not? Why take a medication if I don't have to, right? So I just wanted to share this with you today. You guys know I do health and wellness, and I offer the products. So I just wanted to show you one of the products that I personally drink every single day. And I love this. In the title, I put the link to a Facebook group that I have, A Healthier You with Coach Jeannine. So if you want, click on that link, come over, join the group. It's a wonderful group, trying to get people to be a little more active, sharing their day, their meals, what they're doing, encouraging people just to be healthy, okay? So this was really, really good today for me. How do you spell the T? You spell the T, Te, T-E, and then a capital D, I-V-I-N-A, Te Divina, T-E, apostrophe, D-I-V-I-N-A. Okay. Fisha. Okay. Hi, Fisha. So that's how you spell the T. Okay. And I do offer the tea. So if you're interested in having, some more information about it, definitely message me, inbox me. I will definitely love to give you more information about it. But I'm so glad that I was able to come on today and share those 5 common illnesses and diseases. I think we hear a lot about it, and I think we all to some degree know about those diseases, but I just wanted to break it down what I call layman's terms. I'm not a doctor or a medical professional, so sometimes when you hear them talk about it, all those fancy terms, you get a little confused. So I just wanted to break it down so you guys could truly know how those diseases work within our body and the risk factors, and to show you the common thread. The common thread was being overweight. So that's why it's so important for us to get up and move, and to get up and take control of our lives, right? And find what works for us. Maybe it's not my product. That's okay. But I just want you guys to get up and get out and move and to be healthy. That is my goal here. But again, if you are interested in learning more about my products, this is just one of the products we offer. We have a full product line. Definitely let me know. Click the link at the top of the video. Come over to the group. I would love to share with you. So again, thank you guys so much for popping on this afternoon. I had so much fun. This was a great Wellness Wednesday. I hope you did get a lot of great information. Thank you so much, GB Pastor. Thank you so much for coming on, guys. I truly appreciate it. Go out there and enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. We call this Hump Day. Get out there, enjoy the rest of the Wednesday, get your 30 minutes in. If you're at work and you have a lunch break, go walk for 30 minutes, right? Get it in, and I will see you guys next week. So again, it is your girl, Jeannine Trainer with Total Transformation, where transformation is inevitable and your results will definitely be incredible. I'll see you guys next week. Have a great one. Bye.